There's a reason smart people often feel misunderstood. Not because they're better, but because their brains are wired differently. Today, you'll discover 10 signs you might be one of them. Let's start number 10. You question everything. You're in a group chat, and someone sends a fun fact. Everyone reacts with a thumbs up. But you Google it. That's not arrogance. That's the curse of a mind that refuses to take anything at face value. Highly intelligent people are wired to doubt. They have a mental reflex that says, prove it. This skepticism protects them from manipulation, but also makes them seem cynical or too serious. In psychology, this trait is linked to epistemic curiosity, the hunger for truth, not just information. The irony? Smart people don't always want to be skeptical. They just can't help it. When your brain is tuned to spot inconsistencies, the world becomes a never-ending puzzle. Conversations that others enjoy, gossip, trends, politics, might feel painfully shallow. And here's the twist. Studies show that overanalyzing everything actually reduces social bonding. Your brain is busy dissecting while others are simply connecting. So when people say, "You think too much," what they really mean is, "You're noticing things I'm ignoring." Being smart often feels lonely, not because you dislike people, but because you see too many layers beneath their words. Number 9. You get bored fast. You ever start a new job, hobby, or show, and 2 weeks later, you're done? Not because it's bad, but because your brain already solved it. Highly intelligent people have what's called a low tolerance for mental monotony. When something no longer challenges them, their mind starts craving novelty like an addiction. It's the same dopamine hit thrill seekers chase. But instead of skydiving, you're chasing intellectual danger. Ideas, mysteries, arguments, projects. But here's the dark side. That craving makes life unstable. You might hop between passions, friendships, even careers, not because you're flaky, but because your brain demands stimulation. Psychologists call this the novelty paradox. The smarter you are, the harder it is to stay entertained by normal life. And that's why many smart people mistake chaos for creativity. They say, "I work better under pressure," when in reality their brain is addicted to the rush of problem-solving. Routine feels like slow death. But remember, boredom isn't always bad. It's often the space where creativity brews. The question is, can you sit with the quiet long enough to let the next big idea form, instead of running to the next shiny thing? Number 8. You argue with yourself inside your head. It's a war zone. 2, 3, maybe 5 voices all debating one point. You'll have a brilliant idea and immediately tear it apart with logic. This internal debate isn't self-doubt. It's mental cross-examination. Smart people run thought simulations automatically before they speak. They've already imagined 5 objections and written counter-arguments in their mind. That's why conversations with you feel like debates even when you're just discussing. Philosophers call it dialectical reasoning. The brain constructs and destroys its own beliefs to find truth. But in real life, that makes you intimidating. You're not trying to dominate. You're just allergic to lazy thinking. But the cost? You rarely feel certain. Because for every conclusion you reach, your mind immediately whispers, "But what if you're wrong?" It's exhausting. You crave peace, but can't silence the courtroom in your head. Yet this very tension, that relentless questioning, is what drives progress. Every great thinker, from Socrates to Einstein, lived inside that same mental storm. Number 7. You feel emotionally out of sync. You can walk into a room and instantly feel the tension before anyone says a word. Someone's smiling, but you can tell it's not real. That's not paranoia. That's emotional intelligence turned up to 11. Smart people often have heightened emotional perception, meaning they detect micro-expressions, tone shifts, and energy changes that most people miss. But this superpower has a downside: constant overstimulation. When you sense everything, it's easy to feel everything too. You might find yourself exhausted after socializing, not because you dislike people, but because you've been unconsciously analyzing everyone in the room. Their stress becomes your stress. Their discomfort becomes your discomfort. And while most people can laugh things off, you linger on the deeper implications. Why did they say that? What were they really feeling? This over-empathy can make you appear distant or cold, when in truth, you're overwhelmed. Ironically, intelligence doesn't always make you socially adept. It just makes you more aware of the unspoken complexities. You see the invisible strings connecting people. And sometimes, you wish you couldn't. Number 6. You struggle to relate. You start explaining an idea, your eyes light up, your mind races ahead, and then you realize no one's following you. That awkward silence. It's not because you're weird. It's because your brain moves too fast for most conversations. This is called asynchronous communication, where your thought speed and others' processing speed don't match. You skip steps they need. To you, the conclusion feels obvious. To them, it feels like you teleported. Over time, this gap makes socializing tiring. You either oversimplify yourself to fit in or stay silent to avoid frustration. And both feel equally painful. Albert Camus once wrote, "Intelligence isolates." He wasn't exaggerating. The smarter you are, the lonelier your world becomes. Not because you don't want connection, but because deep connection requires equal mental bandwidth. Still, this isolation isn't permanent. Some of the best friendships and relationships form not from shared intellect, but from shared curiosity. People who might not think like you, but think with you. Number 5. You're obsessed with patterns. You don't just see things, you connect them. Random coincidences form constellations in your mind. A song lyric, a stranger's gesture, a repeated number. To most people, it's nothing. To you, it's part of a larger pattern. This isn't superstition. It's a side effect of pattern recognition bias, a trait linked with higher intelligence and creativity. Your brain constantly searches for structure in chaos. That's what makes you great at solving problems, but also prone to overthinking them. You might spot subtle cues others miss. A friend's hidden sadness, the real motive behind a compliment, or even flaws in systems no one else questions. But this same ability can make you restless. The world feels full of invisible riddles demanding to be solved. And when people dismiss you with "you're overanalyzing," they don't realize this is how you experience reality. You see too much. You connect too fast. It's not a choice. It's your natural lens. Throughout history, pattern obsession has driven both genius and madness. Newton saw invisible forces in falling apples. Tesla saw blueprints in lightning. The key difference between brilliance and breakdown? Knowing when to stop decoding the noise. Number 4. You hate small talk. You can do it. Weather, weekend plans, office gossip. But every word feels like sandpaper on your soul. Smart people often find small talk meaningless because their minds crave substance. They want to discuss the universe, the subconscious, the future of civilization. Not how Karen's cat won another Instagram contest. This isn't arrogance. It's hunger. Your curiosity burns too deep for shallow waters. Yet in a world built on surface-level chatter, that hunger can make you seem antisocial or intense. In reality, you just want connection that feels real. The kind where time disappears, ideas collide, and you both walk away slightly changed. But here's the paradox. Small talk is the bridge to deep talk. It's the calibration phase, the human handshake before the mind dive. Learning to tolerate it doesn't make you less authentic. It gives you access to more worlds. So maybe it's not about faking interest in the weather. It's about seeing it as an invitation. Because sometimes the person making that small talk might just be another deep thinker testing the waters too. Number 3. You have a dark sense of humor. You laugh at things you probably shouldn't. Not because you're cruel, but because your mind processes absurdity faster than your emotions can filter it. Psychological studies from the University of Vienna found that people with higher IQs tend to enjoy dark humor, jokes about death, tragedy, and irony. Why? Because understanding dark humor requires holding multiple conflicting realities at once. It's mental gymnastics with emotional detachment. While most people react with discomfort, your brain goes, "Ah, that's twisted, but clever." You recognize the absurd contradictions of life, how suffering and comedy often overlap. You see how tragedy exposes truth. The downside? Others might think you're insensitive. They don't realize your laughter isn't mockery. It's existential recognition. You're not laughing at pain. You're laughing through it. That ability to find wit in darkness has been the secret survival tool of geniuses and artists throughout history. Robin Williams, George Carlin, even Stephen Hawking, all masters of turning pain into punchlines. So if your humor sometimes disturbs people, remember, it's not broken empathy. It's the rare ability to smile in the void. Number 2, you overthink happiness. Most people chase happiness. You analyze it. You ask, what even is happiness? And then ruin it by dissecting it like a biology project. Highly intelligent people often experience existential dissatisfaction, a deep sense that life's pleasures are fleeting or trivial. When your mind constantly zooms out to the cosmic level, everyday joy starts to feel small. You might enjoy success for 5 minutes before wondering what's next, or lie awake at night, asking why humans even care about meaning at all. That's not depression. That's awareness turned inward. It's called the intelligence paradox. The smarter you are, the harder it is to stay happy. Because understanding how fragile and temporary everything is makes it difficult to feel grounded. But here's the hopeful part. Meaning doesn't have to come from the universe. It can come from creation. Smart people often find joy not in consuming, but in building. Ideas, stories, solutions. When your brain feels too big for this world, make worlds of your own. Number 1, you feel like an outsider, even among people you love. You can be surrounded by friends, family, laughter, and still feel slightly detached, as if you're watching it all from behind glass. That's not arrogance or coldness. That's the silent burden of awareness. When you see life from so many angles at once, it's hard to fully belong to just one. You understand too much. How fragile relationships are. How time is slipping. How most people cling to illusions just to stay sane. Smart people often carry this invisible distance, a quiet observer energy. They can adapt to any crowd, but never truly dissolve into it. It's what psychologists call metacognition fatigue, the exhaustion of constantly watching yourself think. You might smile and play along, but deep down, you're analyzing the moment. Its irony, its impermanence, its hidden dynamics. You're both participant and narrator. And that duality, that constant self-awareness, can make even joy feel slightly second-hand. But here's the truth most people never tell you. Being different doesn't mean being disconnected. Many great minds, from Kafka to Da Vinci, walked that same lonely edge. It's not exile, it's perspective. You're not standing outside life. You're seeing all of it. So next time you feel like an alien in your own world, remember, solitude isn't punishment for intelligence. It's where deep thinkers recharge. The goal isn't to fit in. It's to find those rare people who make your mind feel at home. That's it for today. I'll be doing similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.